Dredge, a horror game all about dredging the sea while avoiding Lovecraftian monsters. I've only heard it in passing, but it sounded intriguing, so I had to try it out. But as I got into it, it wasn't really horror, it was Lovecraftian themed. Now don't get me wrong, I finished the game, but I came in with the expectations of a horror game, and I didn't get that, so I'm a little sad. But I have to say, this was right up my alley without realizing it. And with that, Dredge is a 2023 fishing horror adventure game developed by New Zealand studio Black Salt Games and published by Team 17. And as the game goes, it's fantastic, but it's the plot which really hooked me. The game follows a fisherman who is on his way to the greater town, Greater Marrow, to take up a job offer to be the local angler in the wider archipelago. As he starts, it's normal enough, but as night falls, the fisherman starts to lose himself with fear, almost as if he's hallucinating. But one night, he caught a monstrous, abnormal fish that he couldn't help but take back to the local fishmonger, who guts the fish open where he finds some weird fabric. When out of the shadow, a mysterious man tells the fisherman that these seas harbor many secrets just like this one, and together they can uncover the mystery that it holds. So it's your job to go out and find them. As I started playing Dredge, I thought to myself, there's no way I will enjoy it despite the concept being intriguing. But I put my head down and started playing, and when I did, the boat felt good. It had weight to it, but at the same time I controlled every action I wanted to take with it. I know it sounds insane, but the moment I felt the boat, I knew that the developers knew exactly what they wanted to do, and holy moly, they pulled it off. This might be the best fishing game of all time. Sailing around the world and discovering new islands and people with their own inhabitants and stories is fun. I enjoyed doing all the quests, even if they boiled down to fetch quests, because I genuinely enjoyed sailing and seeing how their stories ended. That said, the cast of characters you meet the first time are fun and intriguing, so much so that I genuinely did want to see them to the end. But as I did, it felt awful every time. Quests are set up but never executed well. I enjoyed talking to these people, but with limited dialogue and unfinished quests, I stopped caring. Even the gameplay got boring because without a good end, why should I care? When what I was hooked with was the stories these people presented. And that same problem can be found with the main story. Past the 2-hour mark, I don't think there's more story till the end, as none of the other characters make an effort to advance the plot. Like, you will see a sea monster harassing a town, you will do one part of that story quest, and then it's never mentioned again. You never go back to it, there's nothing that follows up with it, it's just like, oh, it's just there now, cool. Why? And that's the part that grinds my gears. I was so into the story, it hooked me. But after going through it and reading all the dialogue and collectibles, I can't help but say the vibe is there, but the story is shallow and forgettable. That said, when it comes to the gameplay, it's also shallow, but at its core is handled with precision and care that creates a gameplay loop that is surprisingly addictive. Your main job is simple: catch fish, sell fish, and use that money to upgrade your boat. To catch fish, you have to find bubbles indicating their presence, pull up beside them, and then play a little mini game where you sync the green with the red. Each of the wider areas have their own little mini game to distinct them, but the fun of each area comes from the type of fish you can find and how each area looks. And when it comes to fishing, this game took inspiration from Resident Evil 4's inventory system, and I preferred this to save the system was weight based. This makes it so that you have to think about the placement of fish rather than how many you can grab. And you have to think about if you can even grab certain type of fish at all, as some may exceed the inventory space you have. And that's where the upgrading system comes in place. As you dredge, you can find materials such as wood, metal, and cloth. You can take these back to the shipwright where she can use them to expand your boat and unlock new items such as new engines or rods and other materials. But upgrading your boat requires money. And selling fish isn't the only way to make money. You can find jewelry to sell. But what makes more fun is when certain fish become important. Encountering an aberration is truly horrifying. I love how the sea has changed some of the fish into disgusting creatures. I genuinely love the art that displays how messed up they are. That said, as always, there's really not much to do with them other than selling them for a higher price, which is a little upsetting, as early on, one of the quests that I really enjoyed was indicating something bigger, but that ultimately goes nowhere, which sucks in my opinion. But what makes the gameplay scary is the time management. Anytime you move or dredge, you are on a strict time limit where the fish will slowly start to decay, and if the fish do, they ultimately become worthless, so you have to make sure you're managing your time correctly. But that's not all. You can't forget to sleep, as this is what I also love about the game. It's vibe, and it's a way to showcase its Lovecraftian roots. When you stay up for too long, fear will take over, and through it you will witness strange mists, rocks appearing out of nowhere, ghost ships, and sea monsters that hunt you. And even if you manage to make it through the day with no sleep, be wary, as other hazards can appear during your journey. But as always, that said, it's fairly weak. Yes, there are monsters that can hunt you, but then they're more of a minor annoyance than anything. I never had to worry about it once. I even spent days awake with no issues. There was nothing that really made me want to sleep, and I never felt dread at sea because the monsters were rarely present enough to matter. At night, the fog causes ships to appear, and as you get close to them, it's scary. They're massive fish who damage your boat, and it is like terrifying at first, but eventually they become an annoyance as you realize, wait a minute, nobody else is out on the sea, so why are you even hiding these stupid fish as boats? To show the fish. Unless there were other boats in the game throughout the sea roaming around, this would have made it a lot better and a lot more scarier as a dynamic, because you don't know who's real and who's not. This would have made it so that if I did want to trade with one of these other like ships, I would have to like go to one or use one of my abilities to find them or find this particular ship. But instead, the way the game works is now the whole sea is empty, so I know all of this is bullshit. And really, that's all there is to Dredge. There's not much more than that. There is a DLC which addresses some of my criticisms, like being able to see the upgrades to your ship. It doesn't do what I wanted to do. See, I enjoy the madness of this world, and I enjoy doing the Hooded Men quest and the Rug Slabs, which are a way to give into the madness. But I would have loved to see, and really that's all there is to Dredge. There's not much more than that. There is the DLC which addresses some of the criticisms, like being able to see the upgrades to your ship, but it doesn't do what I wanted to see. See, I enjoyed the madness of this world, and I enjoyed the Hooded Men quest and the Rug Slabs, which were a way to give into the madness. But I would have loved to see the boat become more monstrous as I gave in and did these bad actions, but that doesn't exist. And I guess that's it for Dredge. There's not much shit. There's not much more. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I'm gonna talk about the ending a little bit. There are two endings, and I prefer the bad one, only because I enjoyed the world being cracked up. And if there is a sequel to Dredge, I want them to base it off that, as I think it would be a better and more hostile world where you have to dredge in. And that's it. I think having a bad ending for this world will be cooler. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about Dredge. I did enjoy my time with it immensely, but I don't think I'm ever coming back to it unless a sequel exists and that sequel spices up the horror factor. That said, for a Switch or on-the-go game, I think this is fantastic. Yeah, you know, it's alright. Okay, that's it for me. For real. Take care and see ya.